Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another Storytime episode with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
And we are so happy you guys are able to join us today because we know it's a strange time.
Because it is Tuesday at 2:30 p.m.
Yeah. I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here to read you guys some stories.
Indeed we are. I will say, just for those of you who actually tune in and watch us live, yesterday was a horrible, horrible nightmare that I could not wake up from. And it was 4 hours of just troubleshooting to try and figure out why my sound card and everything basically in this office had stopped working. And of course, we didn't figure it out until after, like an hour after we announced that we had to cancel or postpone the show. But we did figure it out, and we are here for a midday episode on Thursday. So thank you so much for all of you who are joining us. We see you guys over in the chat, and we're thrilled that you could be here. And hopefully you enjoy it, because we're happy that we actually get to record and broadcast live to you folks, because we were kind of worried that we were going to have to do like the normal episode without the audience interaction, which isn't a bad thing, but hey, it's just not nearly as fun.
Yeah, it's not as fun doing it by ourselves.
Yes, so thank you folks for being here, and like Robin said, this is the Storytime episode. And Robin, what are the Storytime episodes?
So Storytime episodes are the episodes where we read the homegrown horrors that you guys have sent us. So any paranormal, spiritual experiences that you've come across, weird things that have happened to you, funny things that you thought were ghosts that ended up being your silly electricity being odd, or stuff like that.
You guys have some fantastic stories.
Yeah.
We appreciate it every time you send us one of those. And if you have a story that you've been thinking about sending, there's no time like the present. Email storytime@scarish.com. You can also go to scarish.com, which is our website. Click on contact us and just fill out the form right there and not worry about any of that other messy stuff. You can go to all our social medias from our website as well. And if you want to just type it into your web browser or what have you, your web crawler, I don't know what the kids use these days. You can go to facebook.com/scarishpodcast. You can go to @scarishpod on Twitter, @scarishpodcast on Instagram. There's a bunch of different ways for you folks to reach out to us. Our Discord server has been blowing up, and it's really nice to see.
It's really nice to see. My phone, though, is just like constantly
so many notifications.
Vibrating.
Honestly, I've like taken about a week off for the holidays and getting stuff set up, and like I wasn't getting notifications for it, so I didn't fix it. But I went back and I saw so much going on, and it was so cool to see some people like supporting one another through some difficult times and talking about things that they've gone through and just having fun and posting funny memes and stuff like that. So you guys are the most amazing community we could ever hope for. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us. And I have to put this out there. It's January, and everyone knows now we're having the January Patreon push. So go over to patreon.com/scarishpodcast and sign up. It's as low as $1 a month. Which is super cheap. It's $1. Like we said, let us be your Snickers bar. Let us be that one thing that you guys decided that you wanted to pick up. It would be super amazing if you guys signed up for us. And if we get to 50, we're going to go to the Winchester Mansion. And because of some conversation that was had in the Discord, someone says that they picture me in a Scariest cheerleader uniform when I'm doing the January Patreon push
so hot
talk. And I said if we actually get to 50 by the end of the month, I will wear a Scariest cheerleader uniform.
So can it be like any cheerleader, though? It could be like a male uniform.
I will probably find the cheapest cheerleader uniform that I can cram my body into and just put Scarish on the front of it and then shave my legs and get some pom-poms probably. So that's my plan. If you have a better one, go ahead and let us know on any of our various social medias and how we should handle that. But hey, we have to get to 50 patrons first. So if you guys have been holding out for the perfect opportunity to sign up
by January,
4 quarters by the end of January, donated, and we'll be doing something really odd that you guys apparently want to see because it'll be humorous. So fun stuff. But I think we're going to get to our first story of the show. So did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I didn't even think about that. Maybe you should go first.
Probably because you don't have them emails ready to go yet, but yeah. I will definitely go first. The first one is from me, and the subject is New Stories from Brandon on Facebook. Oh, so cool. These are ones that were sent to us on Facebook that we have sent to ourselves so we can read to you folks. And the subject, I just read the subject. The email starts out, "Hey guys."
Hey.
Hello. I have a couple funny stories that have happened to me over the past 2 days, so I'll get right in. Hopefully you think it's funny because I didn't at the time. That's just kind of how things go. Yeah. Like if you can keep the perspective through stuff like that where you're like, okay, I guess this is funny, but it's not funny right now, then it makes things a little bit easier. Excuse my bad grammar. I'm typing this on my phone, and that's just an excuse for how bad my grammar is in general. No worries, but we should apologize to my mom because she proofreads these.
Yeah.
So hopefully she's done a wonderful job here. It starts out, my girlfriend lives with me, and like most couples, we share a bed. Lately, I've been listening to your podcast a lot, so I'm a little bit paranoid as of late, but that's okay. Anyways, we were sleeping Friday night, and I woke up to fingers slowly stroking my head and this slow, mouthy breathing, and it sent chills down my spine. I knew my girlfriend was next to me, but before I fell asleep that night, and in parentheses, I stayed up late watching High School of the Dead, which I've never even heard of.
It's an anime.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
I noticed she was
Super
facing
hot.
away from me. When I woke up, I thought she was still facing away from me, and if she were, then she wouldn't have been able to touch my head without twisting her arm in an uncomfortable way. So I thought my head was being caressed by a mouth-breathing demon. Being too scared to turn around, I nudged my girlfriend with my elbow to wake her up. When she woke up, I wasn't scared anymore because she's my safe place. Smiley face. That's really sweet.
That's very romantic.
So I turned around. Sure enough, this bitch twisted her arm around to pet my head while she was sleeping. What the fuck? She did the same thing last night. I got the same chills, quickly realized it was her, grabbed her hand, and threw it away from me.
I'm trying to imagine
That's
how
so
your
mean.
arm would go.
Yeah, it's got to be like some weird twisty shit going on behind your back. I don't have time for that. That's so mean. Yesterday evening, we decided to go out to a restaurant for a little date. Before we left, I'm going to cut in here. That's a really good thing to do. No matter how long you've been together in a relationship, it's always good to go on a date night. And dudes, like if you want some extra brownie points, like leave the house when they don't realize you've left the house and ring the doorbell. And when they come to the door, be like, hey, I was here to pick you up. I do that all the time.
Super cheesy.
Super cheesy, but it works. I'll get back to the email now.
It works for what end? To what end?
To make you feel special.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do. Before we left, I wanted to use their restroom. I walked in and it was super quiet. The mirrors looked into the open stalls, and in the stalls I saw nothing. But the eerie quietness in mirrors creeping me out. I dipped out as quick as I went in. So apparently the mirrors and the complete stillness of the bathroom made you realize you didn't need to go to the bathroom as much. Sorry for my run-on sentences and all the other shit, but I wanted to share this with you guys. I have some more stories that my dad told me about when he was a kid, and a story from when my parents lost their baby girl, in parentheses, my older sister. That's super sad. I sent him my own story of sleep paralysis, which I'm sure will be read in a couple weeks. I hope we've already read that. I think it's a couple-month backlog. It is. It's about 2.5 months. However, we are catching up rather rapidly, so keep sending us your stories, people. I don't know. I'm patiently waiting. I also have a really short story of shadow people. I will send those eventually. I want to ask my dad more about his stuff so I have everything 100%. There's nothing wrong with getting full details. That's why it took so long to do my dad's stories on the show.
To get everything.
Exactly. So you kind of get all the details right. Have a great day to anyone who reads this. Hope it wasn't terrible. It was actually really good. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's funny too because there's so many things that your partner will do in the bed that's like little ticks that'll kind of creep you out, kind of drive you crazy. So you never know which one it's going to be. In your particular case, Robin sleeps with elbows and knees pointed out, and it's never on her side. It's always pointing towards me. So I will wake up with some joint that's she has hooked joints like Doomsday, and I will just wake up with a spike in my back, and I will literally have to push her parts, her pieces away so that I can actually get some sleep without waking up super, super sore.
It's not that bad.
It really, really is. I would share photographs if she would let me, but she gets really mad.
They're shameful.
I will wake up and I will just take a picture of what I'm dealing with and show the fucking 1 square foot of room I have on the bed to curl myself up into sometimes, and then show her in the morning and be like, this is what I live with. This is why I'm always tired. But right on.
Okay. I will jump right into this next email that we have here. So this one's from Jenny. It goes, hello, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
Hello. I just want to say I adore the podcast and think you two are the cutest. We think you're the cutest.
She booped you if you couldn't feel it. She booped you through the microphone.
I listen to you guys when I'm driving or attempting to work out. I like that you have to add attempting because I'm the same exact way where it's I'm going to the gym, but hold on, I got to sit here for 5 minutes. I have a story for y'all, and I'm not sure if these stories are all correlated as in this is the same entity, but they all have happened to my mom. My mom passed away, but these are the stories that she told me that I remember the most. So I'm going off of memory, so bear with me. When my mom was around 2 or 3, she was laying in her crib and she could hear her parents fighting in the room next door. This black figure showed up next to her crib and started shaking it violently. She started to cry because... I
thought it was going to be a caretaker, soothing her while her parents fought, and then it's just totally took a
opposite.
Right turn there. Yeah, that's creepy as fuck.
She started to cry because she was obviously freaked out and just wanted to sleep. The thing taunted her, saying, "Stop crying, child. Why are you crying?" The next thing is that she remembered a white light showing up on the opposite side of the crib and told the black thing to stop.
Wow.
You're scaring her. The black thing chuckled at it and kept shaking the crib. The white thing then said, "Knock it off, you're scaring her." The white figure then flew across the crib and dove into the black entity. My mom laid there still freaking out until the white figure came back and looked down at her saying, "It's okay, go to sleep. You're safe now." She then quickly stopped crying and fell asleep. My mom swore it was an angel trying to protect her from whatever that thing was.
So she was 2 or 3 at the time.
Yeah.
It just begs the question, and I always ask people this too, like, what's your earliest memory? Because I can't remember most stuff from before I think I was 3, maybe even 4. I don't really, like, my parents would be like, do you remember when you lived in this house when you were little? And I'm like, nope. Like, the earliest memory I have is of, like, one specific house. They're like, we moved there when you were, like, 4. I'm like, I don't remember any of the houses before that. So it's always crazy to me how far back certain people can remember. Because I don't know what the difference is, you know, like what brings you online, so to speak. So it's crazy that she has this memory from 2 or 3, and I'm like, I can't remember shit from 2 or 3. It's crazy.
I remember bits and pieces, like little tiny facts about my life when I was a lot younger, like before we ever moved into the house that I kind of went to elementary school and grew up in.
Right.
And we used to live in an apartment before we lived in that house. Well, we rented a part of a house. But so I totally get, like, you could have just random things that you remember from being really little. Like, I remember my dad used to work at Pizza Hut, and he stopped working at Pizza Hut when we moved into that second house. So it's like, how do you remember small things like that?
I remember, and I know that this wasn't the layout of the house where my earliest memories come from, so it had to have been a house before then, but I do remember my parents asking me, like, do you need to go to the bathroom? And me being like, no, and I was, at the time, actively shitting my pants. Like, that is probably my earliest memory. As weird as it is, I definitely remember that. I wonder if my mom remembers that. And I'm sure there's plenty of times where I poop my pants where she's going to try and have to, like sift through all her memories, like the filing cabinet that you pull out, like, times Adam shit his pants, and she goes through all of them. But I
dating all the way to 2013 or whatever.
It was like 2015. Don't give me that much credit. She wasn't a part of that one, though. That was a fully aware, like, whoops, that just happened. I got to go in the shower now. But
okay.
yeah, fun stuff. Good tangents. Disgusting tangents,
all right.
though.
So the email continues. Fast forward to when my mom's about 13, she was at her grandmother's house with her cousins. Nanny, my mother's grandma, gathered all the girls around to read tarot cards. I don't like where this is going.
I know.
Anytime it's like, let's read tarot cards.
Let's gather
it's
family
like,
to read tarot.
ooh.
I just did that story on that chick who was like, let's all play with the Ouija board, and then went on a stabbing spree.
Well, your aunt had the whole tarot card thing too.
Yeah,
They,
that's
like,
a creepy.
big
That's a
ol'
really
note.
creepy tarot card story too.
Then one of her cousins asked if they could use the Ouija board, and Nanny agreed that it would be fun. You're never babysitting my kids again.
Right? Stay the hell out of my house.
My mom was like, hell no, but her cousins pressured her into doing it. I'm not sure if they contacted anything, but mom said that after that, there was a very dark feeling in Nanny's house. Nanny was known to play with Ouija boards and things of that nature, seeing as they always fascinated her. Mom hated going over there because she was always feeling watched, and all the girls hated being alone when they were there. Mom would have sleepovers and claimed to have seen things, but blamed it on her imagination.
A lot of times you blame stuff on your imagination,
Yeah.
and I wonder how often when I look back at being a kid where I blame stuff on my imagination, was it like, no, there was actually a ghost there. Or there was actually a
or
demon
something there that you were like, what?
Yeah. Because why wouldn't you, if you were something that was sentient that could do that, why wouldn't you mess with kids since, one, no one ever believes kids, and two, they eventually won't even believe themselves. It's just like Mary Poppins. All the adults are going to forget by tomorrow.
Can
Just
you
saying.
imagine that?
Can I imagine what? Oh, I fucking hate you. For those of you who haven't seen the new Mary Poppins, that's a song, and Robin just tossed that out.
It's so good. If you haven't seen Mary Poppins and you love Disney movies and you like the original, go see the sequel. It's really good.
Emily Blunt is excellent as Mary Poppins, and
Lin-Manuel
Lin-Manuel Miranda
Miranda
fucking crushes
Yes.
it. It is. I wanted to go see Aquaman. I don't know if we've already talked about this on the show. We probably have. I want to go see Aquaman. They all want to go see Mary Poppins. We went and saw Mary Poppins instead. And it was really, really, really fucking good. I enjoyed it, and like all those songs are super catchy. So the soundtrack has been playing like nonstop in our house basically since we saw the movie. So highly recommend it.
Okay, next. The night before her high school senior graduation, Mom was at Nanny's house borrowing something and then returned home. In the middle of the night, things started knocking over. Just little things, like a book. Nothing big. It didn't bother my mom. I'm not sure how, because the smallest noise at night makes me freak out, even with my nightlight on. Until she heard what sounded like a chuckle.
That's creepy.
Imagine in the middle of the night, and you're trying to sleep, and you just hear someone laughing.
What if you're a ghost? What if you're a guardian angel and you're watching over someone and you just think of something funny? You're like, oh shit. And they're just like, oh my God, demons.
Or you're just laughing at them for things that they do in their life.
They like fart in their sleep and you're laughing
like,
at them for it. And they wake up and just like, oh my God, no, I'm haunted.
Now my mom has had several paranormal experiences because she had a very special way of connecting with them, and she could get feelings of when there was something good or bad in the room. I don't know how she didn't flip out every time something tried to talk to her because I would lose my mind. I couldn't do it. I could not. If something tried to talk to me, like Sixth Sense type stuff where they were like, you need to help me out here, man.
Would you
like,
try and ignore it, or would you just try and adapt to it? And I don't know.
I would pull a Rachel Weisz in Constantine.
Ignore it until it goes away.
Yes.
That's yeah, I think that's what most people would do in that case. Try and pretend that it's not happening to you, so they just leave you be.
Yeah, and then your twin,
I think that's
like goes cray
I mean,
cray.
if you don't have a twin, you're okay. But I think most people, their natural reaction is like pretend it's not there. That's why the whole like pull the blanket up over your eyes, where it's like you're obviously reacting to something that you think is there, but at the same time you're trying to will it into not existing. So I think that's the most common thing.
Anyways, she had heard the chuckle before, back when she was in the crib. Oh man,
That's fucked up.
fuck that. She sat up.
That was a good callback. Well done. Written very well.
She sat up and saw something black move against the wall. More irritated than scared, she knew this was Nanny's demon and wanted to return it. She then grabbed whatever she borrowed from Nanny and drove back to her house. Oh my goodness.
Take this shit
You're
back.
just like,
I don't want it in my fucking house anymore.
Mom knocked on the door and Nanny opened, confused to find her granddaughter at her door at 4 a.m. Why are you awake at 4 a.m.?
I mean, if someone knocks on your door,
okay.
you wake up and answer it.
Mom walked in, put the item that she borrowed down, and calmly told whatever it was, stay here. I don't want you with me. This is your home.
Go back to haunting my grandmother. Fudge you. Fudge you all. Get the fudge
you,
out.
Nanny. She then walked out and drove back home. When Nanny died years later, Mom said she could feel the entity leave the house, and her grandfather went to every room and blessed the house. So that's good, at least, that that thing left afterwards. But it makes me wonder, like, what was your nanny into that it was like, oh, she's gone now? See you lates, guys.
Right. That's just, it brings up a lot of questions.
I'm not sure if the part about the crib was a dream, but if not, then maybe this thing had been waiting to come back and bother her. I also don't know if the chuckle was the same, or if she heard it and concluded that it was the same thing that visited her when she was a child.
Were they two different chuckle demons, or were they the same chuckle demon? It's just hard to tell.
I don't know. Anyone can laugh. So
Anyone can laugh.
it could be anything. Anything chuckles.
That sounds like a song from Mary Poppins.
Right.
Anyone can laugh, children. That's my fucking Mary Poppins voice, by the way. I can't impersonate Emily Blunt at all, obviously.
Maybe it finally saw its opportunity when they started using the Ouija board as a way to attach to her again, but I'm not sure. Anyways, would love to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this. I know you guys are busy. Keep up the awesome work, Jenny.
Well, thank you for
so
sending that in.
much.
I will say, what I think happens is, I think in a case like this, and I know I'm normally skeptical, but I'm going to set that aside. So, like, if you say that there's this thing, when you're younger, you can probably contact or see these things more easily. I do think that's the case with kids. I think that's why they, like, stare into corners and, like, get all happy is because they can see stuff. It doesn't, like, make me think, like, they're crazy. 143am just donated $1.43. So thank you so much, 143am. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think in the case of stuff like Ouija boards, when you start messing around with that stuff that has been there or has been like in the proximity of you, like gets a little bit more visible. It's kind of like you're thinning the veil a little bit. And it probably was there the whole time, and you can just see it a little bit better now because for whatever reason, like reaching out to it or acknowledging the fact that it exists or just kind of saying like, is there anything there right now? Gives them a little bit more strength to like step forward, so to speak. So I don't know. It really sounds to me like whatever entity this was is the same entity, or it's all lies. It's very hard to tell, but I'm going to put aside my skepticism for a second and say like this one, I don't know. The details of it sound kind of legit, and I really, really like the fact that it chuckled again. Whether or not, I mean, if
it was a good story.
Callback. If it's a good story, even if it's fake, that's a great story, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. So good stuff.
Jamie also donated and said, boop all the snoots for me.
Aw, thank you so much. And she also donated $1.43 as well, which is just a weird number. But
It's because 143 a.m.
I get that. Yeah, just saying, like, it's just a weird number. All right, I am going to get on to my next one. So, my next, I don't know why I'm stuttering. I must have had too much coffee. My second email of the show's subject is Nice Ghost Boys. So, I like that subject, and we'll see what happens. And it starts out like this. Hi, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
Hello. I love your show, and I really appreciate all of work and effort you put into making it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Parentheses. Also, I remember Adam saying he listens to Taz. You have great taste. Thank you. I just re-listened to Taz for, I think, the third or fourth time. I absolutely love the Adventure Zone.
I'm always mind blown when I come in and
I'm always worried
to
I'm going to
it.
get judged, but at the same time, I don't care because it is so good. And I'm hoping one of these days, Robin's like, okay, I'll listen to it, because then I get to listen to it all over again. It's just a really good show. My name is Avi, pronounced Avi, and I want to tell you about my nice ghost guardian. For the past 5 years or so, I've been struggling with my mental health. Among other things, I have anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorder, coupled with insomnia. That's lot.
Really rough.
That's a lot to deal with. In parentheses, this is important to the story, I promise. I've been doing a lot better this year, and I've been able to attend public school for the first time in 3 years. Smiley
Wow,
face.
that's really good.
That is really good, because public school can be
Don't let them crush
a
you.
nightmare.
Yeah.
So last winter/spring, my insomnia was very bad. I was not on the correct meds, and my bipolar disorder was not being managed. I couldn't sleep because I was paranoid, and when I did sleep, I never felt rested. If I slept, I fell asleep around 5 to 7 a.m. That is so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, you're not sleeping till the sun comes up. Around early spring, I started having recurring dreams. I was in a rainforest sitting on a platform in a large tree. I could see the stars in the night sky. There was always a person with me. He looked to be around 16 to 18 years old / relatively my age. He wore dark colors and had black hair. He wasn't creepy at all. He was actually very friendly and sweet. I would spend the whole dream talking with him in the most beautiful rainforest. I had these dreams many times during the springtime. It's important to note that this was an extremely low point for my mental health. Whenever I was having a particularly bad day or night, sometimes I would have a rainforest dream and talk to the friendly boy. He didn't have a name, and if he did, he never told me. He just listened to me. I wish I could remember any of our conversations, but I can't. It's so crazy how impactful something is from a dream, and then you can't remember it in the morning. Like, some things I've woken up so obsessed about remembering, and it hasn't happened to me in a long time, but I just remember, like, I had a dream where someone was talking to me, and every time I looked up, they were writing things in the stars, but every time I looked back, the lettering was completely different, and I kept thinking, like, someone's trying to talk to me. I need to look at the stars in my dreams from now on. And I woke up and I was like, so intense, like, you have to start doing this in all your dreams. And I honestly don't think I've ever done it since. I think I just remembered that while reading this email, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of those crazy things. But hey, sometimes something like this is very helpful. And I'm going to keep going. One night I had a particularly bad sleep paralysis experience. I was scared and tired, but too afraid to sleep. As I laid in my bed and started drifting off, I felt something squeeze my hand. It wasn't scary, it was actually comforting, and I fell asleep shortly after. I was convinced that it was the man I had encountered in my dreams. If I was paranoid and couldn't fall asleep during the night, sometimes I would feel shifts on my mattress as if someone was sitting on the edge of it. I would have been terrified, but I felt comfortable. Any fear that I had before I felt the presence vanished. These
That's really
dreams,
cool.
It's really, it sounds like a guardian angel. It 100% does. These dreams and feelings of the presence continued until my sleep improved. As I've gotten better, I haven't had any of the rainforest dreams, and I rarely feel the friendly presence. I don't know, but maybe there's a nice ghost boy looking out for me. That would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
I've always wondered who or what the boy was, but I appreciate him for looking after me during a really hard point in my life. I have other stories, but this one is my favorite. It's a really good
It's
story.
really good.
It would be awesome if you read this on the show. Keep on creeping on. I love you guys. Heart, Avi.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
That's
and,
really good. And okay, go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
I just think that, like, this is the perfect story to read, because I always try and be like devil's advocate about stuff where everyone's really scared of some of these things that happen to them. And I'm always like, what if it's a guardian angel, or what if it's something benevolent? And I think, like, depending on where your mindset is, like, you might be scared of something because it's unexpected, but if you really need something there for you and you feel that presence, and for some reason it doesn't feel evil and it feels benevolent, then you can, like, kind of change the experience that you have. And I think that's why so many people will say, like, oh yeah, like my cousin or my aunt or I have a ghost in my house, and we're just like, you name it and you move on with your life. And sometimes you realize, like, maybe these things really are looking out for you. Like, as much of a skeptic as I am, where it's like, maybe none of this even exists, like, maybe it doesn't, but it doesn't change the fact that this happened to this person, these dreams and this presence, this feeling that something was there, regardless of whether it's not, at the lowest point in their life.
Yeah.
And that's so awesome to fucking hear. It really is, because sometimes you have a really bad day, like I had yesterday trying to get this stream up and running, and the lights were flickering in every room I went. And maybe it was like, I thought I was like, okay, demons, leave me the fuck alone. I said that earlier in the show. But maybe it was like, yo, bro, calm down. Everything's going to be okay. And I can't hear that shit because, I'm human. But I don't know. It's a really inspiring story, and I'm really happy you sent it in.
Yeah. Carly says, solidarity with this person 100%. And related side note, shout out to Sad and Trans from the Discord for pulling through the struggle and being a Dean's List badass.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah.
I'm marking this so I can put this into the podcast because a lot of you guys go through a lot of rough times and you let us know. Huge shout out to Sad and Trans from our Discord who's been going through some shit and has been letting us know, and they still made Dean's List.
Yeah.
Because I've had my most stable years still not make Dean's List. So that's pretty
I've never
fucking
made
awesome.
it. Not once.
Yeah, huge shout out. Tip of the cap to you.
Sliding right into this next email from Laura. It goes, yo, 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 what's good, fellas?
What up, dog?
It's me, Laura, and happy October. Last story I sent was about the haunted church that always used to make me uncomfortable. What? That I live next to. Well, being the dumb bitch that I am,
I like how you paused.
I was like,
I
is that really what? Well, no, it's they and them.
Okay.
So not her. They and
My
them.
bad, dog.
I've been trying to explore haunted places around town with my friends because it's Halloween. Wow, this is way back. Including the church I lived next to, and this haunted land next to my friend Molly's house. All the names in this story have been changed, so it's all good if you want to share on the podcast. It's kind of long, so get ready.
Settle in, folks. I'm settling in
Hold on,
right
I'm gonna
now.
put my seatbelt on. Blip.
Wow. You pantomime putting a seatbelt on.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab my coffee.
And you can tell that I usually sit in the passenger seat because I'm like, this side, over.
I'm going to hold my Empire Strikes Back coffee mug and be prepared for fun story times.
My mug is a nutcracker, and it says, crushing it.
She insisted on getting this thing, even though the holidays are over, because it's just so funny. So we're going to have a nutcracker mug in our cabinets, like,
It's
year-round.
And it was like when Target has a sale after Christmas where everything's like 70% off, I had to have it. It's like $1. You can't say no. It's $1.
You know what else is $1? Signing up over at patreon.com/scarishpodcast. # January Patreon push. Come on, people. Let's do this. 50 Patreons. Put me in a cheerleader outfit.
Patrons.
Just saying. Patrons, Patreon, whatever. Go.
So when we went to these places, twice had different experiences. First, I'm going to talk about when we went to our friend Molly's house, who lived in the middle of fucking nowhere. On the drive there, on this winding road surrounded by trees, it feels like you're going to run into some kind of cryptid. I can totally imagine that. But I'm imagining like the roads from where you're from, where
Yep.
it's just corn and a road.
You just never know when something's going to step out in front of you. We talked about this earlier today. It's one of the only times Robin's ever driven, and we were driving like 2 miles when we were back in Northwest Indiana. And as she was driving, I'm like, you know what? You should slow down. There's deer everywhere. And as I said that, 3 deer crossed the fucking road.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was just like, wow, psychic powers. Or you just know, like, if you're driving through the woods in Northwest Indiana, there's fucking deer everywhere.
It was also like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah. We were all, well, I shouldn't say we. You were sober-ish. I was drunk. And my cousin in the back seat was quite drunk. So thank you for driving us. Always have a designated driver, people.
Okay. While trying to find, yes, please drink responsibly. While trying to find out what house was hers, me and Ferris passed it and saw this huge headstone that was about 9 feet tall on the side of this huge empty plot of land. We turned around right in front of this bridge and freaked the fuck out. Ferris turns around and finds Molly's house right next to this giant empty field. When we came up to her porch, we asked her about it, and she was all nonchalant telling us about the story of the Fur's ghost. So basically, the story goes, there were these 2 farmers who lived next to each other back in 1850s. One had a beautiful daughter named Sarah that had one day went missing. Turns out the neighboring farmer had kidnapped her and locked her inside his barn to rape and torture her.
That is horrific. What the fuck?
Yeah. One day she escaped and ran, but before she could get away, the farmer shot her and she died. It's a very fucked up story for sure. That's how...
I would 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah. But word says that if you touch the headstone and walk around it 3 times at midnight, it'll start bleeding, and she would appear to protect her father's land. What the fuck?
Yeah, this is just a weird legend.
Lots of kids come around and try to do this, so Molly and her family would sit on her porch and scream so it would scare them away, which is hilarious. Molly and her...
You know all those kids are going back like, we went there and we just heard screaming and we ran.
Yeah.
Like, that place is haunted as fuck.
Molly and her brother are very skeptical about ghosts and stuff. Maybe they aren't very sensitive to spirits and stuff like that, but the others have had experiences. Because we're dumb fuckers. Okay, I just want to... So we played this stupid game last night, and I don't remember what it was called. Something about a prom. Monster Prom?
Monster Prom. It's on Steam.
It
I was
was-
following it all last year. I'm so dumb. I didn't realize, one, it was out, and two, I apparently had bought it months ago. It's been on my computer this whole time.
We played it last night, like the 2-player version, and I tried to go after the LeVay guy, whatever his name was.
It's like a demon.
He was the demon dude
I think
in
his
the
name
game.
is Damien.
Because it's like a dating sim.
I'm pretty sure his name was Damien.
Damien?
And LeVay was the chick, and that's why I thought you were going after
No,
the chick.
I thought his last name was LeVay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a dating sim, but
Anyway.
you're all monsters in high school, and you're trying to get a date to
He's
prom.
an asshole because at the end, when I'm like, I want to ask him to prom, he was like, oh, you're a dumb fuck.
Yep.
I was like, who wrote this game?
What's really fucked up is we're playing this game, and I wanted the hot werewolf dude, and she wanted this demon dude, and the demon dude got super into me on accident, and I'm like, cool, whatever, I can, figure this out. And the demon dude, in like a side story, went to Robin's character and was like, I'm really into your friend, Adam. And she was like, Adam's a dumb fuck. You shouldn't be into him.
I didn't
and
say
so because
that.
of that, he decided he didn't want to go to prom with me. She whatever she did, she sabotaged the fuck out of me and ruined my chance at that dude. So when she asked him out, it asked me afterwards, like, who do you want to ask out? So I asked the same guy, hoping that he would turn her down and go with me. But he called both of us dumb fucks and told us to eat shit and die.
Yeah.
It's a fun, stupid game, though.
I was so mad. I was just like, this game's stupid, and
Shout out
it's rude.
to Skep Talk Live, who just followed us on Twitch. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate the follow.
Yeah, no. Monster Prom makes me rage.
It's fun. There's like 1,000 different combinations of things that can happen too, and at the end it tells you how many that you've gone through. So it was a fun time. Let's get back to the story.
All right. So because we're dumb fuckers, we decided to go to the side of the road next to the headstone to ghost hunt. It was me, Ferris, Molly, Tommy, and Ollie. Me and Ollie are witches, so we are particularly in tune with spirits. Ferris has had a horrible past with spirits living in her room, so she's super scared already. Molly tells us about an old graveyard down the road. We walk over the bridge to get there, and something about the bridge wasn't comfortable. The water was so dark, it looked like a black void. It was probably about 10 o'clock when we crossed it, so nothing felt very strong. The only thing real scary about the graveyard was the Confederate flags up in front of some of the graves.
That's an
Yikes.
old graveyard.
Yeah, but there was some rocks stuck up straight to show the death of the slaves that have lived with the Furs family, and there was some divots in the ground where you can tell someone was buried. It was kind of sad to think about, but it wasn't spooky by any means. Walking back across the bridge felt even more uncomfortable as it grew nearer to 12 o'clock, which is the witching hour. I don't know, midnight and 3 a.m. are like two.
It's supposed to be between 2:30 and 3:30, but I mean, demons don't know time zones. It's 3 o'clock somewhere. Holler.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure that's a Jimmy Buffett song. It's 3 a.m. somewhere.
It's 5 p.m. somewhere.
No, I'm pretty sure it's called the witching
Or
hour.
is it 6 p.m. somewhere?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
You're so terrible. You can't even correct my bullshit.
Okay. La la la. Okay, so no one really heard or saw anything. It wasn't until it was 12 that we started noticing shadows in the field that couldn't be bushes or trees. There were about 4. One was shifting around on the ground in a really contorted way. Ooh, no thanks. No thanks.
I imagine like it crawling out of that
Oh, the
fridge.
bridge where he's just like,
He comes out like a spider, like untangling himself from a web. It's just creepy shit.
yeah. One was standing straight up in the middle of the field and was moving closer to us, just walking like it was nothing. Like the grass in the field would make you hike up your legs, but he was just walking normally. Okay, so it's like the grass is so high you want to pick up your feet to like move forward. There was another 2 hiding out next to the trees. Me and Ollie were particularly interested in watching them, but I kept looking back towards the bridge and I saw a white, shaggy, glowing dog walk in front of the bridge about 8 feet from us, and he walked towards the woods next to the bridge. I kept seeing figures around that part of the bridge as well. After about 1 o'clock, we all decided to leave because we didn't want to see that figure in the field get any closer to us.
No shit. That's a long time to wait to leave. That's like an hour of just watching these shadow figures.
However, we went to my haunted church, and I'll tell you guys about that one later. The horrible feeling that something was watching us didn't go away for a while.
Yeah. That'll happen if
Big
you go to a
old
place that got something super haunted in it.
A few nights later, we came back to Molly's house to go hunting ghouls again with Bailey. Because she has anxiety about being in large groups, it was me. It was just me, Ollie, Molly, Molly's brother DJ, and Bailey. So we went out to the graveyard, and it wasn't as spooky as I wanted it to be. How much spookier do you want
When
it?
things aren't as spooky as people want them to be, they do silly stuff like bring a Ouija board or try and like chant an incantation. And it's like, leave that shit alone, bro. Like, let a place not be spooky. You don't need to desecrate some place for your personal enjoyment or entertainment. It's just kind of scary to do that shit.
Yeah.
Just saying.
To be honest, it wasn't even particularly scary like last time. I thought we weren't really going to see anything until we walked back and started seeing shadows in the field again. DJ jumped over the fence to see if we were going to walk towards it, but we weren't about to trespass or, die. But we tried to shine our flashlights on it again and still couldn't see anything. And it was still walking towards us. And then there was a light I saw over on the other side of the field where the woods were. Again, it was about 1 o'clock or so when we decided to leave because DJ had school in the morning and Ollie and me wanted to take Bailey to my haunted church. Story coming soon. After being scared shitless at my old churchyard, we decided to come back to see if anything changes at Molly's ghosty neighbors. It was about 3 o'clock exactly. We wanted to see if our headlights could shine out into the field so we could see the shadows again. But we went over the bridge again, and as soon as the tires hit the end of the bridge, everything felt heavy and sad. And suddenly Bailey starts frantically crying. I got chills.
Did you?
Yeah.
You can't tell because she's wearing a really nice blazer. It looks good, by the way.
We pulled over at the end of the road and tried to calm her down. She starts saying, I'm not even sad. I don't even know why this is happening. And then she started getting angry. And Ollie told us, yeah, I feel angry as shit all of a sudden. I'm ready to fight someone.
Wow.
This
is why you don't try and make things scarier.
Yeah. I was in the back seat still feeling very sad, like I wanted to cry. There was no other way to get home unless we passed over the bridge again. So we whipped Yui and drove as fast as we could over the bridge and past the field. It still felt like someone was watching us for 4 miles. 4 miles? How long is that? 4 miles?
4 miles?
I don't know, 6 minutes?
It depends on how fast you're driving.
Okay.
It's completely dependent on how fast you're driving.
So we turned down a random road and just drove to see if we could shake it. I was still...
To shake it. It would have helped if you put Metro Station on. I think that's the name of the band who did that song.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get corrected and yelled at. By the way, I was wrong about who Old Blue Eyes is. It's Frank Sinatra, not Dean Martin. My mom yelled at me for that. My bad, dog.
And then I mixed up Zabuza and Kisame.
You did. I can't believe you fucked that
Oh my
up.
god. Shut the fuck up.
I was like, the shark dude, right? Yep.
No.
He's named that.
Yeah, so the shark dude is Kisame. And
I like it when you kiss him, May. Yeah. I can have bad puns too, people.
And Zabuza is a completely different person, but both have giant swords. And so Kisame has a sword that's wrapped in bandages, and Zabuza has his face wrapped in bandages. So, I just got mixed up there.
There's a lot of bandages going on in Naruto, apparently.
All right. So, after being scared shitless at my old churchyard, we decided to come back to see if anything changes. We already went there.
I'm telling you, I told her I was looking at some stuff that we could possibly get for the podcast because we have so many Amazon gift cards that we've gotten this season. And I saw something that's a teleprompter. I mean, it's not crazy expensive. It would be very complicated to set up, but I was like, man, wouldn't it be nice if we could just read from looking that way? And she's like, we don't need it. It's too fancy. It is too fancy. We do not need it. But it would be really fucking cool to have because you can like manually scroll past where you're at. And I don't know. I just think it'd be super cool to have. I added it to the scariest wish list. Because some of you folks like to go there and purchase things like the Stream Deck. You had the Stream Deck sent to us. Shout out to Connor for sending that to us.
Thank you so much, Connor,
this makes
for the
my
Stream
life
Deck.
so much easier. So yeah, I just think teleprompter will be the way to go in the future. Eventually, hopefully we can get there, but we'll see what happens. But right now, just sign up for Patreon, people. Like that's what we're focusing on.
I was still in the backseat trying not to cry for a good 30 minutes until we reached the interstate. I tried to sleep in the car so I wouldn't have to sleep in my house alone for long. But when I got home, I took a 2-hour nap with my cat because I had to work at 7 a.m. Oops.
That's funny.
But yes, that is the story of Molly's fucked up spooky old farmland next to her house and her haunted bridge. And that was from Laura. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you for sending that in. That was really good.
Yeah.
I really like, I call it Scooby-Dooing. I've said it before on the podcast. I really like when people go out and go Scooby-Dooing because two things usually happen. Something really creepy happens or something absolutely hilarious happens, and in some cases both. And they're always just really fun stories. I'm not saying go out there and investigate anything paranormal or trespass or do any of that stupid stuff. However, if you have done that, let us know, because they're always really, really entertaining. So cool. That was just really, really good. I just like the fact that it's like, wasn't spooky enough for me, so I tried to make it spookier. It's like I started summoning demons, and then we got it just spooky enough. Like, don't do that stuff, people. Just go to a different place. So I'm going to move into my last one of this episode, and this subject is school scares, free to share. I'm sorry, it's long. That's okay. Thank you for the rhyming. And it starts out like this. Hiya, Robin and Adam.
Hiya.
Hello. Smiley face. Smiley face back at you. It's your girl Kate again, just giving you a heads up because I know you'd been concerned with email silence. I'm not dead. Okay. So many of you guys write us stuff where you're like, this creepy shit's happening right now. I don't know what's going to turn out, and then we don't hear from you. So glad to know that you're not dead. Since my last homegrown horror email, my nightly janitorial job or rude ghosts haven't killed me yet. It's very good to know. However, I've got some other spoops for the Spooptober season, even though it's January now.
Yeah, we're starting to get into Halloween emails.
Yes. In parentheses, though I know with the flood of stories and etc. that it'll be past then, but who cares? If it's December when this is getting read, then happy holidays and happy New Year, I guess.
I love this
Smiley
email
face.
already.
Son of a bitch, we even missed the happy New Year. This will be another long one consisting of a few small stories, which you are more than welcome to share on the pod. So for a little more context than I gave before, I live in Wisconsin, more specifically the hometown of the Packers. So they live in Green Bay, and in parentheses, sorry, Adam. It's okay. Sorry to you.
One of our closest friends is a Packers fan.
It's true. It's very true. And I'm not going to gloat. I'm just saying you guys didn't have a great season, which you were used to, and the Bears had a fairly good season. So I'm very, very happy about that. So I'm going to keep going, though. Besides football, there isn't too much going on around here, but there are some urban legends regarding the high school I attended that students would pass around. I hope they're still...
Oh my God.
That probably tastes like cat mouth, because that cat was all up in that shit before the show. It tastes
fine. The only problem is it was sitting next to the vent on your computer.
So it's warm.
So it's really hot water.
It also could be from cat saliva or cat mouth, because she was just burying her face in that. So let me go ahead and get back to this.
Oh, BT Dubs, I bought new lipstick for Christmas for myself. I bought new Estee Lauder lipstick, and I think that's my favorite one I've ever bought so far because
it didn't rub
it's
off
not
on
this glass.
It's good to know.
So if you guys want good long-lasting lipstick, go do that.
Good product placement. They're not sponsoring us or anything, but hey, shout out to them. So there are some urban legends regarding the high school I attended that students would pass around. I hope they're still being spread by the students, but sadly, I won't ever know. The first story consists of the legend of, quote, the girl in the balcony. So my old high school has a rather gorgeous auditorium, if I can toot my own horn. Toot away.
Toot toot.
To put into perspective, the walls and balcony section and stage is modeled like a tiny opera house from what I remember. It even has covered up holes in the walls for private viewing boxes. That's super cool. The seats on the bottom level are more modern, basic show seating. The legend goes that a young girl fell from the upper balcony and broke her neck when she hit the chairs below, obviously killing her.
Oh my gosh.
That's super sad. People claim that they see her wandering around the auditorium, front/back stage, and band pit. I personally have never seen her, even though I was in pit band for the theater group, but I know some other members have claimed to see something sitting in the upper seats.
Oh,
a little girl with brown hair and a frilled pale yellow or white dress, of course it is, who disappears once you try to look at her a second time.
No. Big no.
Big fucking no. My brother even claimed to have seen her when he was bringing some boxes in from the music room to the auditorium, though he claims to have seen her in the seats on the bottom level about 50 to 70 feet from him. Let's just say that he freaked out and ran out of there, considering he was completely alone at the time.
Yeah.
I would too, man.
I can't even imagine having to work by myself and seeing something like that, and you have no one to talk to, or no one's going to save you.
Nope, the fuck out. I'd just be like, you know what? I'll tell people what I almost had happen to me, and that I almost died, but I'm not going to fucking die. I have a friend who, we had something happen in our high school as well. He was super into theater, and he had something very, very creepy happen to him. I don't remember the story right now. It escapes me, but I'm going to have to reach out to him. So, Lucas, if you're listening to this, totally hit me up and remind me of that story, because I'm going to share it on the pod.
All right.
So the second story is that there's a ghost man that hangs around the outside of the school and always seems to be lost. He looks rather shambly, so lots of people assume that he's just a creepy homeless man who lurks close, but closer to the road. One day, when I was heading home for the night after some pit band practice, I took the front entrance because I needed to wait for my mom to pick me up. Everyone else could drive and park next to the band's door on the other side of the building. In parentheses, there's a door in the band room that goes directly outside to the parking lot. That's how it was in my high school, too.
Okay.
I'm totally picturing my high school for this, the entire thing. Just a nicer auditorium. As I waited close to the doors and visibly in the school's light to be safe, the scraggly man just appeared without a sound and politely asked where Cherry Street was. At the time, I had no idea, but I believed it was up the road and over the city's bridge. I took out my phone as he thanked me because I got a text from my mom saying she was almost there. I looked up not 2 seconds later, and he was gone. No sounds or a trace of movement. There was
creepy.
nowhere to hide, so there was no way he could have run without me seeing him. I have never seen him after that. I do hope that whatever the man was looking for was found, and that if he is a spirit, that he was able to finally be at peace. Otherwise,
That'd be
I was
nice.
no help to a sad homeless man. Because they didn't know where this actual street was. Lastly, my high school was a bit nuts when it came to its layout. Being one of the earliest schools built, it needed some renovations in its long lifetime. There are technically 2 halves of it, called the old and the new sides. It's very obvious when you walk through the halls. The startling difference is in its design when you pass the threshold of the 2 halves. I can totally just picture like one wing is your old high school, and as you're walking through, all of a sudden everything is completely different when you get to the addition. Like even I see the floor tiles like being an actual line, like the old ass floor tiles that are worn, and then wherever the addition starts, they're brand new floor tiles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you're crossing into another universe. So I'll keep going
Nightmare
with
High
the email.
School versus regular high school.
Sounds like Monster Prom to me.
Silent Hill.
Wow.
No.
Maybe. I don't know. But that's not like half and half, though. It's like an upside down type situation.
Yeah, like Stranger Things.
Exactly. Which the trailer came out for season 3.
It looks cute.
You watched it in the back seat while I was driving, and I was just like, I can hear it. And she's like, oh, shit. Oh, snap. And I was like, cool. Sounds like a fun trailer, bro. I sent it to her on Facebook, like, we can watch this together, and I don't want to forget to bring it up. And then she checked her messages when we were driving to a restaurant, and she watched it. I was like, motherfucker.
That's what happens when you send it to me, man. I
My
read it.
bad, dog. My bad. All right, I'll keep going. So it's very obvious when you walk through the halls. The startling is the design. I already read that. The old half ends with the auditorium, complete with ticket booth outside of its doors.
Whoa.
And the new half then starts with the cafeteria.
That's a fancy high school.
That's fancy as fuck. The new half's addition to the building caused some really weird changes that continue to throw off the incoming freshmen and some sophomores still. Staircases lead to dead ends.
No,
what
they
the fuck?
don't.
Who would do
What?
that? Like the bricked up private auditorium seats, as well as some main staircases. You can only get to the 3rd floor by 2 staircases. I don't know why you would create a maze with some bricked off walls. This sounds like a fucking social experiment. Someone did this shit on purpose, and they're monitoring you guys to see how often you fuck it up.
Like, I'm sorry, but that architect, get the fuck out.
Right?
No, get out.
And permanently locked doors. You leave the doors, you just leave them locked. But there is one thing that has remained unchanged in its whole history: an underground passageway. In all caps, I shit you not. But you didn't see that coming, LOL.
It's like
No,
Disneyland. They
I
got
didn't.
underground passages.
To get the celebrities in and out so people don't bother them.
I
mean,
was
they do
thinking
that.
that's how you get the characters around, but
That too. But they do use the tunnels for celebrities so they can go between rides.
it's cool.
So, getting back to the email. The building has 2 gyms, old and new, go figure. And in the old gym, there are doors that can only be opened by a select few staff members. Don't know why this just reminded me of this. We had senior pranks every year, and the year before I graduated, we didn't think the seniors did anything because there was nothing elaborate. No one heard about anything. And I remember when I was a freshman, someone spray painted the school, which is just stupid because it's like, it's your school.
Yeah.
And you're just costing the school
Spray
money.
paint the rival school.
Yeah, don't do that either. But it's just, it looks trashy. And then my sophomore year, I can't remember what it was. It was something lame. My junior year, the seniors didn't do anything. And we came to school, and then one of our teachers told us, like, they actually did do something. They put liquid weld in all the locks in the entire school, and it cost us like $60,000 to replace all the locks.
Man.
It was insane. They ruined like everything, and they figured out who it was because there was only one person that could have gotten the janitor's keys. And so that person wound up getting fucking sued by the school because they were 18 and they were an adult
That's
at that
a lot
point.
of money.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
that's what I'm thinking about when I'm reading this email. Okay, let me get back to this. There are these doors that can only be opened by a few staff members. However, we begged the gym teacher who did have access to let us get some equipment that they keep in the door's opening, which is the pathway to get to the tunnels.
Get to the chopper.
Hate you. After several attempts, with their permission and the key to a few trusted students, they got access. It wasn't in the class, but I thought it was all bullshit, to be frank. Who would believe such a thing? Well, my classmates had thought My classmates had thought ahead and took a video of them opening the doors and going inside. The clip spread like wildfire to all the students. The inside is as you'd imagine. It's got some storage in the larger opening section, as well as the dark tunnel that goes into the darkness. This sounds like a fucked up high school.
That's where you perform all the cult rituals.
Yes, down there is where all the sacrifices are made. To Cthulhu, probably.
Now I'm just thinking back about like Bible
Cabin.
Black.
Oh, I'm thinking about Cabin in the Woods.
Have you ever watched Bible Black?
Nope.
All right.
Cool. Don't tell us what it is. Thank you.
You don't want to know what it is.
You keep your secrets. Tell me. I want to know right now. What is it? You have to tell me.
Oh, it's
now.
a hentai.
Oh, shocker. God. There was some. So there's tentacles down in this thing.
No, there are no. Oh, well, no. Hold on.
Oh, my God. I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
There was some lighting, but not much on the inside. We were told that the tunnels also connect to the boiler room, so Freddy Krueger could fucking get you, apparently. So this is the way the maintenance guy has to take to fix it. I feel bad for that guy. He must feel like he's walking into a horror flick. With such a winding path and dim lights, our class set up a petition to have our senior overnight thing be in the tunnels. Wow. We didn't have a senior overnight thing.
I did not. Well, no, I wasn't allowed to go. We did have one. I didn't go.
We didn't have one at my school. The petition, we had ditch days, which I coordinated very frequently because
we also had that.
We were allowed 10 absences. When I was still in high school, I went to Boone Grove High School. We could have 10 absences. At 10, you had attendance failure. And every year, I would monitor my absences very carefully so I would get 9.5. And I had one of my teachers one time give me a slip, and I was at 9. And she said she was handing us slips so that we would know how close we were. And on my slip, she said that I had 6 absences. And it said like it was for the entire year for all classes. She didn't pay much attention to what she wrote. I had 7 different classes, you know. But she basically gave me this thing that said you only have 6. If you sign this, you're acknowledging that you have exactly 6. So I signed it and I'm like, loophole, bitch. So I took 3 more days off. I was at 12. I got called down to the office with 2 weeks left of my senior year. And my vice principal was like, you know you're at attendance failure, right? And I was like, I did not know that. He's like, well, you have 11 days. I was like, are you counting yesterday? Because I wasn't here yesterday either. And he had this look on his face like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, you're not going to graduate. And I was like, oh, actually, Miss So-and-so gave me this slip telling me I had 6. So I thought I had 3 more days. And he just stared at me. He's like, so you were purposely trying to max out your days? I'm like, goddamn right I was. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, they're my days. Why wouldn't I take them? And so he had to go down, find this slip. He brought it back. It was this huge ordeal. They had this conversation with the actual principal, not the VP principal. And they were just like, okay, here's the deal. She made a mistake, but because you thought you only had 6 days, we're going to make it slide. So you'll still be able to graduate, but you can't miss any more days.
Did you miss any more days?
No, because I was like, I really want to graduate. I don't want to fucking come back here. But the entire time, just had this hate pouring out of their face. Like they hated me so goddamn much. But I was like, loophole, bitch. Sorry. So, okay, let me get back to your email. I'm sorry about taking over with my story. I don't know why that reminded me of it. But we didn't have any like senior overnight thing.
We had one senior ditch day at my high school in Hawaii. I wasn't a senior. We had that there in Hawaii where everyone would go to the beach. It was like school sanctioned. Everyone would go to the beach. And I think in Texas...
school sanctioned ditch day at the beach is the most Hawaii thing I've ever heard in my life.
In Texas, where I did graduate from, we just had like a senior trip that we went on. And so we went to, what is that place called with all the horses? Medieval Times.
Oh, yeah. We went to Medieval Times, too.
So we went to Medieval Times for our senior trip. And so they had all the high schools.
I have a lot of high school stories that are all coming back to me. I never think about high school anymore, so I always forget about it.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
We went to Medieval Times.
More than 10 years ago. Oh, my gosh. It was more than 10 years ago.
It's 15 for me at this point.
Ugh.
And wherever they sat, our school was right next to, like, the platform that the king sits on. So when the show opens, it's like, welcome to Medieval Times, blah, blah, blah. King so-and-so welcomes you. And then they put the spotlight on him. And everyone turns and he was waving to everyone. And I stood up on my chair because I was like right next to it and I was like waving at everyone. Like, hello. And someone's like, sit the fuck down. I'm pretty sure it was one of my teachers. They were just so sick of my shit. So, all right. I have to get back to this email. Sorry about that. Okay. They have these tunnels. They have been discovered. There's a petition circling because they want to have the senior overnight in the tunnels. Now I'm getting back to it. Why would you do that? The petition was never even touched by the staff, who firmly stopped any hope of that happening. I remember some students trying to sneak in during their PE, but were swiftly apprehended. LOL. I would never have participated in that overnight stay in the tunnels, even if it was allowed. Who knows what creepy shit would have been down there. Anywho, I'm very, very sorry that this was such a long email. It's totally okay.
Yeah.
Sorry that we had all those tangents.
I think what makes these episodes forever is that our tangents
People
are
tell
so
us they
long.
like our tangents and to keep doing them, so we just let them fly, but we try and rein it in every now and then. I hope you all enjoy this as much as I did reminiscing on it. I love you too, and your pod is absolutely so much fun to listen to. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Even though it gives me the creeps sometimes when I'm on my night shift, I won't stop. Keep doing what you do and keep on creeping on, guys. Kate, the night janitor.
Thank you so much, Kate.
That was really good. And I think it's cool that you enjoyed reminiscing because you definitely took me down memory lane while I was reading that as well. So it was a super fun email. Thank you so much for sending it. Any of you guys that are remembering shit as we go through these stories, you should absolutely write them down and send them to us because they're so much fun to share, and we definitely appreciate all of it. So that was super fun, and I really, really had a good time reading it.
About that high school, Walzo says, wait, is this Sunnydale?
That's hilarious. I thought, I was like, this sounds like a fucking hellmouth, but apparently it's in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I am part of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Facebook group, and it's just so funny how many memes people post in there. I crack up at how creative people are. So, moving on to our next email and final email of the night. So,
it's
the
day.
It's
Daytime right now.
Holy shit, it's only 4:30, guys. You've been here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, spooky friends. I'm still catching up on... Oh, hello, by the way. Still catching up on old episodes. This is just a
horrible intro for this one.
Just finished Storytime 3. This reminded me of a not-so-fun, creepy/odd experience. Warning, this does not have a happy ending.
Uh-oh. Let's strap in then.
Oh, why am I reading this one? It doesn't have a happy ending. Okay.
Legit, I always pick 3 emails, and I do a short, a medium, and a long. I don't look at any of the information on them, and I pick 3 for me. I pick 3 for Robin. And I accidentally forwarded her the 3 I was supposed to read, so this one was supposed to be me. So it'll be really fun to listen to Robin squeal and freak out while she reads this.
Or cry. When I was in high school, I had a job in the town a 20-minute drive from my house. I had my license only a few months before this experience. In general, I was comfortable as a driver even though I was fairly new to it. One night, I had a nightmare, and I remember the feeling of panic, pain, fear, and cold. I remember crying. I remember feeling scared of dying and being alone, and when I woke up, I was crying and still felt panic and scared. But I couldn't remember what I saw, what I did, or however. I know I was absolutely terrified of a car accident.
It's really bad when you wake up from a dream you can't remember, but you're still emotionally affected by it. I think we've talked about that before, where we have dreams that you wake up from and you're still scared or angry or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But it would really suck to wake up and have those emotions and be like, I can't remember why, but I'm super freaked out right now.
I asked my friends for rides to and from school and work for a week, and during that week remained terrified and continued having those nightmares. Finally, I had to drive myself. My shift didn't line up with my friend, and no one else could take me. I drove, and the entire time I was shaking with white knuckles. I had never been so excited to get to work. My ride home was also filled with panic. That night, though, not long before I went to bed, I had a sudden flare of complete panic, my heart racing. I was sweating and I couldn't breathe. It didn't last long, just a minute or 2, but then it suddenly stopped. I felt no panic, no fear, and that night, no nightmares. The next day, still no fear. I drove myself to work as though the past week had not happened. It was so strange how instantly fine I was.
Just a quick pop-in to remind you this isn't going to end well,
Yeah.
so I'm wondering where the turn's going to be.
Someone died. I already fucking know it. I can't. Ugh! While I was at work, I got 2 calls back to back from a friend. She knew I was working, and it was strange for her to call, so I went into the storage room and answered. After she finished talking and hung up, I had realized that at some point I'd fallen to my knees. Now I sat in complete shock as I absorbed the information she had shared. 2 of our friends had gone for a drive to a popular spot at the top of a hill. On the way back down, the brakes had gone out. They had flown into the trees along the hill far from the actual road. One friend was thrown from the car. The other was trapped inside. The friend who had been thrown was forced to drag herself up the hill with
Holy
broken
shit.
bones to try to get to the road and hopefully find help. She spent hours doing this. Oh, what the hell, dude? Oh, and this is no happy ending. There's no happy ending. This is like
Maybe this person has a happy ending, but the non-happy ending is for the person that was
someone
ejected.
did come by and both were rushed to the hospital. The friend who was trapped in the car went into a coma and within a couple of days passed. The one who had been thrown survived with severe injuries and was in a wheelchair for months. I learned later that the rough estimate of the time of the actual accident was the same time that I had that sudden panic attack before all the fear and nightmares went away. This was a horrible tragedy for my friends, and though I understand rationally there was nothing I could do, I was filled with a deep sense of guilt for years after. Thank you for reading, Christina.
Thank you for sending that in, because that's some real shit that you just sent us. And I know you already know this, but just as a reminder, like, it absolutely was not your fault. And for other people that have those sort of premonitions and things like that, there's really nothing you can do. Like, even if you somehow were able to remember everything and go to those people and tell them, like, whatever you do, don't do this, I really feel like no matter what you try and do, it's still going to happen. It's like the idea of, like, time travel. Like, you can go back in time as many times as you want to try and change something, but every time you try and like deviate what was going to happen, it's going to happen anyways, just under a different context. Like, I deeply fucking believe that. Like, when I think about things like this, like, some things are just going to happen no matter what you do. So you can't feel guilty like that, because there's so many things like I can think of, like, from my own life. Like, I've mentioned before that my brother has issues. My brother's a paranoid schizophrenic. It's exacerbated because he has brain damage from a motorcycle accident. And, like, I think about that all the time whenever I think about my brother and what he's going through. Because I'm like, if I would have given him a ride instead of him going on his motorcycle, he wouldn't have gotten into an accident and he might still be fairly okay, you know? So I'm just like, I am okay. I won't blame myself for that, because I know, like, I could have done something different, but, like, there's no way to know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if I would have been driving him, like, we would have gotten into a car accident and we would have been hit on the passenger side, you know? There's always something that could happen that's going to change things forever, and sometimes there's just absolutely nothing you can do. And I think it's easier for people to feel guilt that they didn't do something when they could have or should have than to admit that sometimes you're absolutely 100% powerless to keep horrible things like that from happening. Yeah. But it is absolutely not your fault, and it does suck. So thank you so much for sending that in, because that's rough. Yeah. That's a rough thing to go through. I remember I was in high school, maybe even college. No, it was absolutely high school. It was my senior year. And I was in my office, which was my mom's office. And, like, we had one road that we lived in front of, and then, like, about a mile away, that road intersected with another road. So it's like that cross pattern that you would see. So that other road that it intersected with, like, you could kind of see off in the distance. And I just saw, like, one cop show up, and then several cops, and then a fire truck. And I was like, there was a car accident over there. And this was probably in December, maybe January, because it was snowy and icy out.
Oh, you're talking about John?
And as soon as I saw that, thank you for ruining the story.
Sorry.
And as soon as I saw that, I was just like, something's very wrong. Like, that is someone I know. And I know that is someone I know, and I need to get down there right away. And I drove down there, and the cops had blocked off the intersection, so you couldn't go down there. And I went home, and I grabbed my dad's camera, because it had like a 50-time zoom. And I went back there, and the cop was super annoyed, but I got out of my car, and I was zooming in with the camera to try and see what car it was. And I kept asking him, like, can you tell me what car that was? Like, I think that's my friend. And he didn't tell me anything. And I went home, and I tried to calm down. I'm like, everything's cool. Like, it's just a feeling you got. You're crazy. And then, like, 20 minutes later, my friend's girlfriend showed up, and she had blood on her face, and it was his blood because he had reached through the car because he was trapped inside it. And, like, told, like, everything's okay, babe. But he had cut his hand, and, like, his hand was bleeding, so he's, like, petting her face, like, putting blood all over her.
Oh, my God.
And she was freaked the fuck out, and she's like, we have to go to the hospital right now. And I was like, I knew it. Like, I fucking knew it. And as another side note, I've mentioned before that I almost drowned when I was a kid, and my cousin pulled me out and saved my life, and he later became an EMT. My cousin's the one who cut John out of that car.
What?
100% true. He got the jaws of life, and he cut my friend out. Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to Ryan, saving lives. That's just what the fucking guy does. It's
That's
100% true.
crazy.
It's so crazy to think about those things and how they all, like, match up. My friend wound up being 100% okay. He had to have, like, his tendons reattached in his hand because he couldn't lift his fingers for a little while. And it did not overlap with his baseball season. He also hurt his ankle, and they had to wrap his ankle for his entire baseball season too.
Wow.
But yeah, that was fucking crazy. I totally thought about that listening to this story. So, and I think everyone has an experience like that. We just had a feeling something was wrong, and you wound up being right, and you almost feel guilty for it, or like you feel guilty for not believing yourself. So crazy shit like that does happen.
Yeah, that's Swazzle's story from the chat.
Thank you
chat.
for sending those, Wazzles. You're the shit. We appreciate you so much. And I just want to thank everyone that send us stories. So if you guys have a homegrown horror that you want to send us, you can reach out to us by emailing storytime@scarish.com. You can go to facebook.com/scarishpodcast and message us there. Click like on the page, pretty please.
If you
we
just
want to get more likes.
If you just go to scarish.com, there is a little entry that you can type your story into, and it'll get to us that way too.
Just click on contact us at scarish.com. That's a good way to reach us. It has all the links to our social media as well.
Yes.
You can join the Scarish Spooky Friends group, which is on Facebook, by just going to our Facebook page. You can also join us on Discord. The best way to do that is go to scarish.com, find the Discord link, click on it. You can also join us on Twitter, just at ScarishPod to reach out to us, at ScarishPodcast, where you can follow us on Instagram. You can watch us live at twitch.tv/scarishpodcast or watch us live on YouTube at youtube.com/scarish. And we appreciate everyone that comes out. You guys make these episodes so much fun. It is amazing. We're glad we were able to do this, even though we had those technical difficulties on Wednesday.
Yeah, and we really want to thank Jangmi and Lilo in our Discord for bringing up the whole cheerleading outfit for the Patreon goal for this month.
Speaking of that, guys, head over to patreon.com/scarishpodcast and sign up. We really want to get to that goal of 50 because we really want to do the Winchester Mansion here very, very soon. So that's the January Patreon push. Let's do this thing together. Get us to 50. Sign up right now. And then, Robin, what's the other place people can go if they want to donate?
So if you go to ko-fi.com, coffee.com/scarishpodcast, those are one-time donations, and all those donations will help go to us upgrading our studio setup. I have not updated that page in forever, so I should check it out actually and see how that goes.
I agree. Shout out to 143am. They redeemed some souls on the online stream to say Scarish Podcast.
Sweet.
They were doing a shout out because on Twitch you can do a shout out to your channel or your account.
Nice.
And they did us. So thank you, 143am.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. It's just been really fun to do these episodes. Story times are always great, and we love hearing from you folks. So please reach out to us and send us your stories if you feel like it. We always like to hear it. And if you want to share with us, but you don't want it read on the show, that is 100% okay too. We have a lot of you folks reach out to us and talk to us. So we try and get back to all of you. Sometimes it's hard to know whether or not we can read your emails on the show or not. And we don't find out until we're going to read them that, oh, this was just directly for us. So sometimes it might take us a little while to respond, but we are going to read them and we will respond to you. So just one more time, big shout out to all you folks because you make this so much fun. It is an absolute blast doing every week. And we love all you guys. It's fantastic. So, and you apparently like us too. So we're going to keep doing it for as long as we possibly can. Yeah. And I think that's just about everything we have unless I forgot anything. No. So Robin, go ahead and take the sign out and
keep on creeping on and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.